What is up, everybody? Flaw from the YugiCast here with you today, and I'm going to be going over two different deck profiles. It's actually two profiles of the same deck. This is a deck that I was playing last night on the live stream. However, I was playing it on DN, but I've made some changes to that version on DN. If I have time, I'll get to that. But I got to keep this video under 10 minutes, so we're going to get into it right now. This deck is called Chainbeat. The idea behind this deck is these guys are your boss monsters, your Evilswarm Thunderbird and your Wind Up Rabbit. Basically, if you don't know what these guys do, Evilswarm Thunderbird, whenever an effect is activated, he can banish himself, and he comes back in your next standby phase with an extra 300 attack. So he comes back as a 1950 beater. Excuse me. And then you have this card, Wind Up Rabbit. We all know what Wind Up Rabbit does. It basically says, haha, you can't kill me. And that's kind of the idea behind this deck, is you want to wipe your board with cards like Compulsory Escape Device, Dimensional Prison, Torrential Tribute, things like that, and just chain their effects to get them out of the way. You want to wipe your board, while keeping your monsters alive, and just start poking your opponent for little bits of damage. If you get these two guys out, you basically put your opponent on like a 4-turn clock, 3 to 4 turn clock. They have to deal with them or else. You also got run cards like Reborn Tengu because they're floaters. You kill a Tengu, you get a Tengu. There's actually a really fun play that you can do when you have Thunderbird or not Thunderbird, but you have Wind Up Rabbit and one Reborn Tengu on the field, and a Dark Hole and a Tour Guide in hand. You Dark Hole your field, you banish your Rabbit, you get another Tengu out of your deck, you Tour Guide for Leviair, get back your Wind Up Rabbit, and you just start poking for. You can do a lot of damage that turn. So this is my first version of the deck that I built. I've been playing this deck for a few days now, and I really like this version. However, I don't like the Fire Fist Bears. I feel like because of Bear, I have to run the 2 Tinky and the Tensu, and I don't like running them. They don't have any synergy with the deck. Like Effect Veiler kind of has some synergy with the deck. It's a hand trap. Card E lets me draw into my monsters because I do typically run a low monster count in this deck compared to the rest of the meta. 2 MSTs kind of don't really need, but this version can't. This version can lose to some back row, so you have to have that. But the bears themselves, they have absolutely no synergy with the rest of the theme of the deck. They're just spot monster removal, which I sort of already have in Compulsory Escape Device. So this is kind of the weak spot of the deck right now. But this was, like I said, the very first build of the deck I made, and I've been testing it, and it works really, really well. So your spells are 2 MST, 2 Duality, 2 Tenki, 1 Tensu, a Dark Hole, and a Reborn. You don't want Heavy Storm because you run 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 traps. You don't want to Heavy Storm that. You just don't. Your opponent's back row doesn't really matter to you because if it's an answer to these guys, you can banish them away. If he gets rid of this guy, he replaces himself. If it's an answer to this guy, well, shit, you shouldn't have wasted your normal summon on this guy. You see why I don't like this guy? But anyway, and then your extra deck is just generic rank 3 and 4 staples, 2 Stardust for the Starlight, and then Catastor because you do run level 4s and Effect Veiler. It happens. So yeah, this is my preliminary build. This, however, is my favorite build of the deck so far. This is 1 card E, 3 Rabbit, 3 Thunderbird, 2 Tengu. The 2 Thunder Kings are actually being taken out. Oops. I made this decision yesterday talking to a friend of mine. Taking out the 2 Thunder Kings for the 2 Ape Fighters. I feel like this card's better. He's basically a 1900 beater. Every time he gets over a monster, he gains 300 attack. So he kills a monster early game. Congratulations, you now have a 2200 beater. He kills another monster, he's a 25. Do you see where this is going? My opponent has to have an answer to him, or they're putting themselves on a really slow clock. Even though he doesn't float like the rest of the deck, he still does a lot of work for the deck. And then, of course, Card does have. People don't tell me that I should be running Card. Card lets me dig into my, again, relatively low monster count. I like him. Your spells, once again, 2 Duality, Tenki, Dark Hole, Reborn. I need to cut this Reborn for something because I'm main decking 3 macro. But your traps, you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 20, 22 traps. You're running a lot of traps in this deck. Is 2 Bottomless, 2 Torrential, 2 Fiendish Chains, the warnings, the Warning and Judgment, 2 Mirror Force, triple D Prison because I'd rather run 3 Mirror Force, but I can't. Your 2 Compulsory Escape Device. I don't think I went over this in the last, just a second ago. Basically, this card, both players choose a monster and they shuffle it back into their deck. You can actually chain your Wind Up Rabbit or your your Evilswarm Thunderbird to their effect, to this card's activation. So you target them, then chain them. So this is just another kind of 1-for-1 spot removal. It's really, really powerful in this deck. It's probably the only deck it'll ever work in. I think it was made with Madolches in mind, but it doesn't work in Madolche, so there's that. 3 Macrocosmos, 2 Starlight Road, because I run so many traps, and then 2 Horn of the Phantom Beast. This card is amazing. People attack into your Tengu thinking they're going to get over it, Horn of the Phantom Beast. People attack into your Ape Fighter, Horn of the Phantom Beast. People attack into your Wind Up Rabbit thinking you're going to dodge so that they can attack you directly, Horn of the Phantom Beast. it's it's such a good card. I love this card. And then the extra deck I didn't bother changing from the last build, so that's why things like Catastor and Tiger King are in here. But you're primarily going to go into Leviair, Leviathan, Zenmaines, Acid, Maystroke, Abyss Dweller, or Utopia. You're not going to go into anything else. That's just kind of the way it is. You could probably fit an Ophion in here, but without that chain, without the Pandemic Trap, I don't feel like it's worth it. So this is probably my favorite build of the deck. However, this is the build that I've been playing this morning on Dueling Network. It's a much smaller monster count, only 9 monsters, 2 tour guides, and then your floaters and a card car. But it runs this card, Black Garden. Basically, this card locks your opponent out of the game. You summon a monster, and its attack gets cut in half. However, and then your opponent gets an 800 attack token on their side of the field. So basically, what you want to do is you want to play Black Garden, then you want to summon these guys, and then you want to find a way to banish them. If you get them both on the field, banish this guy, then chain this guy's effect. They go away. Any monster your opponent summon, its attack gets cut in half, and it can't get over these two. Your boss monsters become a 1400 Rabbit and a 1950 Thunderbird. It's pretty unfair. It's a lot of fun to play. I don't think I've lost a game with it yet. I've played Heroes, Dragons, and Rabbit with it. There's something comically amusing that just amuses me to no end about beating over a 1200 attack Logia with a wind-up Rabbit because they can't do anything about it. So yeah, you run the 3 Black Gardens and the 2 Terraforming so that you can search them. And then it has an 8-card draw engine in here, but with Legacy of Yada, Jar of Greed, and Accumulated Fortune. Cards like and it's kind of handy because cards like Wind Up Rabbit and Evil Swarm Thunderbird, they can be chain links. Like your opponent can attack you, and you can say Rabbit, chain this guy, chain Jar of Greed, chain Accumulated Fortune. That's your 4 chain links for you. Draw 2 plus 1 for this. But it just seems kind of gimmicky. I don't really like it too much. I will probably be finding cards to replace these. I may cut the 2 Accumulateds for 2 Tengu, and then cut these 6 for just better traps, maybe a 3rd macro and some other stuff. But yeah, this is a really good deck. It's a really powerful deck. It's a stun-based deck, and it takes patience and skill to play. If you guys want to try it, I highly encourage you if you want a template to go with this one. Start with this and work your way from here. I kind of get this idea after I was watching some old YouTube videos and I saw who was it? 3Z Inferno's floater beat from the 1000th YCS last year at Long Beach, and I thought that he had a really good idea with Wind Up Rabbit. Basically being just being something you can't kill. What makes this card so good? The fact that you can't kill it. Well, let's find a bunch of other cards that just float and replace themselves. And so that's kind of where I started with this. This deck is still very much under construction, but this is the version that I played last night on the stream, minus the Ape Fighters. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't know anything about the stream, like I said, I believe I said earlier, there should be a link to this in the description below. And yeah, have a great day. My name is Darth Flaw, and I'm out. Peace.